It's 5:30, folks. I do believe in starting promptly, and we believe in using our microphones. So, all board members, please pull them up close. Please use them, or our person who takes all our notes will be scrambled again, and she won't be happy. We want her to be happy.
Thank you. Me too.
First thing, that's the call of order. Pledge allegiance, please. Join. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Need to go into the approval of minutes. Wonderful. Who forgot? I did. Would you?
I'd be happy to. Commissioner Dutton is excused. Commissioner DiNucleo?
Here.
Vice Chair Huntoon is excused. Chair Messersmith?
Here.
Commissioner Russell? Excuse me. Commissioner Sagers is excused. Commissioner Warren? We have a quorum, and this is the auditors. They're kind of trapped in there, so they... Yeah. Disregard. Yeah.
I guess
If the board looked at these minutes, I looked at them prior to this meeting. Anyone have any questions or concerns about the minutes? Hearing none, minutes are accepted. Consideration of public comments. Those who wish to make a comment from the commission need not request it ahead of time, but you may stand up now and have your turn. Yes, please. Please state your name for the record.
Good evening, Mr. Commissioner and members of the Commission. My name is C. Russell. I am currently the chairman for the Kansas City Commission, and it's kind of one thing I want to bring up is kind of twofold. It's that time of year again when we have to start looking at our September activities. We have Andy Devine Days and the fair and the Day of Caring, which I want to speak to this commission about. The Kansas City Commission is trying to expand on the Adopt a Block program. And so I'm here to kind of talk to the various commissions to see if they would be interested in putting a group together, maybe in conjunction with one of the other commissions, and doing a cleanup on September 21st, which is the week before Andy Devine Days. And the other thing about this whole thing is we would like to see if we could recruit that group, if they do get together, to be a permanent Adopt a Block member, where you would go out maybe 3 times a year and clean up a particular area, or an area that just needs to be picked up. So if this whole thing, we have flyers. I wanted to bring flyers tonight, but the ones they printed, the first draft had a typo in it. But anyway, the Day of Caring, we're in conjunction with the River Cities United Way, and we will be kicking off at 6 o'clock in the morning, September 21st. There will be a continental breakfast at the River City Way office. Will be in the parking lot and right there across the street from Gas and Grub at the bank on Wallapai Mountain Road. So if you're interested, get a hold of me or River Cities United Way. Any questions? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. We need to move on to old business. There being none, we're moving. New business, report to City Council Commission workshop. Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On June 29th, it was a Saturday, as we're most aware, City Manager Mr. Foggin called for a commission workshop. During that meeting, we had about 6 hours to, well, not even that much, maybe 5 hours. It was a morning workshop, and Mr. Foggin went over, he asked the city clerk to go over, I'm drawing a blank. We went over some of the legalities of running a commission meeting. We also talked about conflict of interest. The city attorney was there. Then we broke out into sessions specific to each commission that the city has. It gave us an opportunity, and he requested that we develop some goals and objectives for each commission. So when we broke out into those groups, commissioners that were there developed those goals and objectives, and we presented those to the city manager so that the council could review and see what each commission is working on and what their goals and objectives might be. He also presented us with what the city council has as far as 4 major priorities. So there was some good discussion that came about, and it actually led to item B, which we'll cover next with regard to our goals and objectives for this commission. It was a really good workshop. I think it was well attended. Mr. Nublio was there, Greta was there. Who else? Nick. Oh yeah, Nikki Seegers attended, and Nan Russell. So it was really well attended, and I think it was good for our commission to see that. That's about it.
Okay. Well, then we move on into that item B.
Okay. I put together a little presentation to go through this. If I can get there.
Got it? Goes.
I got it. Okay. Bill, I don't have the goals that were from our commission.
You know, when we submitted our goals and objectives during that workshop, we never got a copy back.
Okay.
So
we'll include those later then?
yeah, let's include those later and present them.
Okay, great. Well, then what we'll do is we'll go over, and what I'd like to do is just kind of review the mission statement and what our current responsibilities is listed on the city's website. And so our current mission statement, I think you all received it in the agenda, but it's...
If you could speak closer to
Okay.
the mic, it's harder than that.
Okay. The current mission statement is what we've all able to read it. So that's what our current mission statement is. And then as far as reviewing the mission statement, things to keep in mind and to consider for a strong mission statement would be simple and clear statement of purpose, positive with an overall mission, and then refrain from listing goals. Detailed responsibilities and goals should be developed to support the mission statement, but not included necessarily in the mission statement. And then on the underlined ones, those are of our current mission statement, those are pretty much what should be kind of moved over into goals and responsibilities. Can you hear me? This is on, right?
Yeah, it's on. It's used, I think.
Real close? Wow. Okay. So, sure. Here you go. So I don't have to chase it. See if this one works better. Maybe not on the same side. Okay, so an example of a mission statement that might be a little stronger, I kind of threw together, and it would be the Kingman, Arizona Historic Preservation Commission, supported by local government, coordinates historic preservation efforts with the State Historic Preservation Office for preservation and restoration of archaeological, historical sites and properties located in the city for the purpose of preserving the heritage of the city of Kingman. I know it's a mouthful, but it basically comes down to that we work with local government and with the State Historic Preservation Office to, I'm just not coming through it all, and we're coordinators, but it doesn't list specific items. So, something to consider when we start developing what we want our mission statement. This is just a sample. This is a list of our current responsibilities as listed on the city website. And I don't know which of these we've done and which of these we haven't. I do know that we do number 8, prepare a written statement. The written report for commission activities.
Right.
We do that. But the other ones, I don't know which ones exist, which ones don't. So we really should review those and determine, are these our responsibilities? Are these our goals? Is this what we want to have out there for the public to see and to adhere to, for us to adhere to? So our homework assignment for the next meeting would be to review our mission statement and provide suggested revisions. So each of you would go and look at the current mission statement, look at our current responsibilities as listed on the website, and then review those, say which ones are working, which ones do we do, which ones don't we do. Would we rather replace some of those with something that's obtainable and or is what we have what we really do? So review the responsibilities and goals, determine which to keep and which to revise or replace, and then write 3 to 5 realistic, obtainable responsibilities and or goals.
And if I may, just real quickly, normally when we get the form from SHPO that asks for our annual report, I normally do that on my own. I go back through the agendas and I just highlight some of the agenda items that we've worked on, things that we've accomplished, and I try to put together they provide the written form, so we basically fill in the blanks, here's what we've done, and I've normally done that report on my own. Not bringing it back to the commission because it's kind of an administrative thing. But I certainly will, include the commission from now on, or bring it and let the commission fill that up if you'd like. I'll take your guidance on that. But it's normally an administrative thing that I do, so I can fill you in on that when we do the next one.
Okay, great.
Okay?
And then as far as for homework aids, I kind of went through and looked at the city's website and checked out the different commissions and kind of just put a summary there of, but go ahead and, my thought is to go look at some of theirs, see what ones look real positive, which ones don't, to give you some ideas of how to form different responsibilities or goals to complete your homework assignment. So, that's all I have. Don't forget to bring your completed homework to the next meeting.
Are we going to send this homework out to the missing board members, please?
I can do that.
I have a question. Where does this mission statement reside? I wasn't able to find it on the webpage.
It's on under the commission tab. I'd have to look at it, but I can show you that later. I mean, I can't show you right now, but I know it's on the website. It's probably not very easy to find, but I think it's under the city clerk's office tab, and you go to government. I'd have to look at it, Mr. Danubio. We can show you later. But it is on the website.
Thank you.
I couldn't find it either, even when I queried mission statement. I wasn't able to find it on the city website. I don't know if it's gotten moved off with revisions or what.
All right.
But
I'll look into that.
okay.
Anything else on this? Any questions? Hearing none.
There it is. I couldn't find it either. Good evening. So I am Sylvia Schaefer. I work in the Planning and Zoning Division, and I'm here tonight to give you a little update on our Planning and Zoning Ordinance update. So basically, the City of Kingman has contracted Lisa Weiss Consulting to assist the city with the zoning ordinance update and expansion of the Historic Overlay District. Contract is for a 2-year period and began July 1st. Lisa Weiss Consulting comes with expertise in the planning and zoning field, sign code, historic downtown districts, and form-based codes. At this point, we have held some initial stakeholder meetings with the consultant, Roger Eastman of Lisa Weiss Consulting, to obtain some initial input. The next course of action will be to hold workshop study sessions with the public, City Council, the Planning and Zoning Commission, and Historic Preservation Commission. These dates have not been set yet, but I will update you once we have a date on those workshops. And now I'm just going to give you a little overview on the history of why we're doing this. The City of Kingman zoning ordinance was adopted in 1971. Since then, there has been almost 300 text amendments to the zoning ordinance, and there never has been a comprehensive review or update. So, due to the lack of regularly updating this ordinance, it is outdated, lacks clarity, and sometimes inconsistency between various sections. So it makes it hard for everybody to interpret. So the intent of updating the ordinance is to provide clarity, make it user-friendly, and update zoning districts to allow for all types of uses such as mixed, commercial, and more. As far as the expansion of the Historic Overlay District, I think everybody here is interested about more so. Okay, so you might even know this more than I do, but the Historic Overlay District was added to our zoning ordinance in 1986. Although we have an overlay district, it's small. It's about 3 blocks. And on this map, this is about the area it is. The intent of expanding the district would be to kind of what you said in your mission statement, to preserve historic buildings, and I heard architectural, or was it archaeological areas and more. Implement aspects of form-based code has been requested, and I will touch a little bit on that as well, attract more tourism. And there's probably several other goals that I didn't list here. I was just making it really brief. And again, you guys will all have input during this process. This is just a little touch on the form-based code that we talked about for the downtown area. So this would include input from everyone here. But what we have in place now is conventional zoning, and that zoning is based more on use, and form-based is based more on form. So this is a little chart, gives you an idea of that. And this is an example of how it would be a little different. In 1768, Thomas Jefferson built his home in Virginia, what is now considered a masterpiece. This beautiful landmark building includes elements such as columns, elevated front entry, triangular roof forms, window details, and use of red brick. So it's an inspiration for design guidelines. But then we can also say that the standard zoning, which we currently have, could be a similar result that has the same features, but not quite the intent of what we were looking for. So there's also another example that today's zoning basically is based more on separation of uses. This is our current zoning map that shows all the various districts. This is all commercial, residential, where form-based would be different than this. For example, this is red on the zoning map. I know we don't have a target here, but this would be commercial, but so is this. So our conventional standard map allows both of these uses in the same zones, where form-based would have a different effect. I'll try to clarify even further. So different places need different regulations. This is showing walkable, transition, and drivable suburban. If the built form on the left side is desired, then a different code is needed from the type of code that allows for the image on the right, or that in the middle. It's kind of where form-based takes a place, where you can design a certain area to be how you prefer it more, community vision. And just a little bit more on form-based, this is again showing how instead of a zoning map, this would be based more on different intense forms, basically. Instead of this being zoning, the darker of the color shows more tense the form we're regulating, whether it be how the front of the building looks, what use, not uses so much, but more so looks and like walkability, distance, and park standards. But as we get more into it, you'll understand more too. I'm just touching a little base on this. So some of the misconceptions of form-based codes, even though formists prioritize, FBCs do not regulate use. Emphasis is on uses appropriate in a walkable environment. They can be written to prohibit undesirable uses, but that would be, again, input from the community. Current use entitlements are preserved. And so a misconception is that they're too complicated, whereas really they're very organized, user-friendly, and have a lot of graphics and tables and make it easier for everybody to understand. Just a little additional information. A form-based code has some similar features to a historic overlay district in which there is a strong design aspect for development. The difference is under an historic overlay district, the traditional land use zoning requirements continue to be applied in the area, while with a form-based code, it becomes the new zoning district where the physical form takes precedent over the actual uses. And what we're looking at this point is a hybrid, where it has both. Some elements of the form-based code and the historic overlay district. And that can be created to address both preservation and form. But really that's a little summary of what we're doing right now. And again, the next step will be to schedule workshops with the various public and commissions. And then from there, we will be getting input from everyone on this. So if you have any questions for me, I'm ready to answer them.
I do. Do you have any idea what the time frame is when the Historic Preservation Commission will be brought in?
Commissioner, I don't have a date yet. We just finished the stakeholder within the next 2 months. I know it's slated for August and September, so my guess is possibly August.
Okay. And will the commission be provided with the current zoning ordinance as it applies to the historic overlay district?
Oh, absolutely. I can...
Could we get that so that we'd be prepared, better prepared for the workshops? Or
Absolutely. I can provide that ahead of time.
That'd be great.
You could start that now.
Could we get a copy of your presentation?
Commissioner, yes, you can.
Thank you.
Anything else from the board?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia.
I've been public on enough anyway. I just told I wasn't broadcasting on this thing, but I thought I was talking loud enough anyway. Sorry. Gotta have somebody, right-hand person here to tell me how to operate. All right, where are we here?
Indeed.
What's that? Yeah, got it. All right, current status, Hotel Beale, possible commissioner appointment to City Council Hotel Beale Task Force.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. So recently, the City Council directed the city building official to take a look at the current situation and condition of the historic Hotel Beale downtown, which they did. Mr. Eaton, Keith Eaton is the city building official and fire marshal, and he's been in touch with the owners of the property, and he did a cursory review of what the current situation and status of the building is, and then he reported back to the council with the condition. And at that time, the city council talked about developing a task force to reach out to the public and help determine what the future holds for the historic property. The fact that the Beale is on the National Register of Historic Properties, that triggers the opportunity for us to have some input and to help protect the property. One way we can do that as a commission is make a motion tonight to have that listed on the state's most endangered historic properties. Now that list is monitored and overseen by the Arizona Preservation Foundation, which is also works really closely with the State Historic Preservation Office. So as a commission, you can make that motion and we can send a letter to the Arizona Preservation Foundation asking them to list it as an endangered property. Now that doesn't mean a lot. It doesn't give us much teeth, but it does help when it comes to protecting the building. We all agree that the property needs to be protected and preserved, but how to go about getting that done, that really falls between the owner and now our city building department. We don't have a lot of control or teeth. All we can do is make recommendations to the city council about what to do. And so if you have ideas, we can discuss that now. If there's things that you think we might be able to do, we can make those recommendations to the council. One of those recommendations could be that it be listed on the endangered properties list monitored by the Preservation Foundation. So that would be a suggestion I had, would go ahead and let's send a letter down to the Preservation Foundation that we'd like to see it listed as an endangered historic property. Sometimes that gets the word out throughout the state to preservationists, if you will. Sometimes we've seen where, for instance, there was a big historic hotel in downtown Phoenix that was listed on the endangered properties list, and what came of it was a private investor saw an opportunity to come in. They bought the property and turned it into senior housing in downtown Phoenix. So it's an awareness type of thing. So I'd kind of suggest that might be a good way it would be one good recommendation that we could make to council that would help protect our valuable hotel downtown. So that's what I have, and then if there are any volunteers on the commission that would be interested in serving on this task force for our city council, now would be the time to volunteer for that.
Yeah, I've got a volunteer. Scott Dunton would like to go.
Okay, so basically, it sounds like any of our commissioners would be willing to serve, I would say?
Definitely.
Okay. Then I'm going to leave that up to our city council, whoever's, because it's not developed yet, but I'm going to leave it up to the council to select one of you. Since we're all willing to serve, then let's let our council decide who they'd like to choose. Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think election.
Okay. Thank you, Gary. Yeah, that's right. The city manager will let him pick one of you.
All right, we have apparently a number of people like to be. Paul would be on there. We've got several. I'm not sure my schedule would allow it, but
Okay.
we have other members that would be.
I'm sure one of us, I'm not sure yet, but I think he's going to reach out to get a member of the public, a member of this commission. I'm sure there'll be a staff member involved and a council person involved.
Has anybody doesn't own the building been in it lately? You have any idea? Oh, I'm sorry, you did. Sorry, I recognize you back there.
I was getting to that when we were all done discussing. I was going to ask that.
Okay, thank
the
you.
family-
The city can give the bill. We're not allowed to collect except check.
So
For several years.
I think the building official.
That was bad. The
Yeah.
problem with restoring the hotel deal has always been money. We put over
Teddy?
$500 million.
Teddy,
You need to bring this,
Can-
you can't discuss.
right,
Oh, yes. Sorry. I was just too interested in it.
Right.
We can't discuss this in the council.
the condition of it. So at this point, we know we'll have a member on the task force, and then as that progresses and develops, then we can report back to the commission about what's happening and what's going to happen and how we're going to help and things like that.
Backing into a little bit of the information on that, on July 25, 2017, this commission recommended to the city council that it be put on the endangered properties list.
We did that in 17?
Yeah.
And then the endangered is too long of a title for me to remember here. But they have also said that they were out here and they looked at the business probably a couple of years ago, along with the high school.
I'll confirm that and make sure that I'll see what the Preservation Foundation has. Thank you.
Any other questions or discussions? Sounds like you'll get back to us.
I will report back when I have more information.
Again, my apologies, I didn't recognize you back there. It's been a long time since I've seen you. All right, I'm not sure that we're not just about done here for tonight. Any announcements by any of the commission members?
Yes, I have an announcement. Yeah.
Okay. You haven't got your green light on there.
There's the green light.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to suggest that we move on the updating of the records showing the date that some of these houses were built. It's been kicked around for a long time. Mrs. Huntoon has worked on it. It's in the assessor's office. Records have been changed a bit on the date some of these houses have been built. I'd like to see us move on that. We did such a good job on the last committee that we had. We finished it in 10 minutes. I'd like to take an opportunity to move on that impetus that we have and get something done tonight, get that finished with.
Unfortunately, I checked with the high school and their community service program is not active any longer, which would have been a good source for volunteers to help us with that.
questions. I know that we need to do the year build. It's a huge job. It is. There's close to 500 individual properties just in the downtown area, in the historic downtown area. And as of June of this year, the county changed all the year built on the assessor's records from year built to effective date, which is completely different than year built. So we'd have to pull all those hard cards, the hard copy property cards, for every single piece of property to determine when an improvement was actually initially built, not modified or added to.
So there's a lot of this that Ms. Warren has already worked on. We actually considered agendizing it for this meeting, but in our discussions with Ms. Warren, we're not quite ready to make it an agenda item because it could be a lengthy discussion. So to kind of respond to what you requested, it will be agendized. We will be reviewing it in the future. In fact, we may look at it in September when we get some of these other items off the agenda. Is that right?
Yeah, and then the item that you were talking about that we thought we completed, because when I contacted the State Historic Preservation Office, they said that reviewing the current properties that are on the registry was not a requirement. It is a requirement, I believe, based on the National Historic Preservation Act. It says that we're supposed to review properties every 4 years to determine whether they're endangered. We have no idea if a property is endangered of ruin unless we do a 4-year review of all the properties that are on that list. So we had a little bit of false information and we canceled that. But I think that needs to go back on. It's a much smaller item, and it would be only, according to that Preservation Act, it's only the ones that are currently listed on the National Historic Registry, not the ones that were submitted to the state.
Not eligible, but only the ones that are listed.
Right, and that's only 63 properties, and 4 of them are now gone. They were ruined, they've already been demolished.
So you will be sure, so we're actually dealing with 2 different things here, so we'll make sure that those are on future agendas.
Yeah, Mrs. Huntoon has been working on it for over a year, I believe.
Right. It's a big undertaking.
Okay. So they're both kind of on hold right now.
Anything else? I have one quick, I just want to bring it to our attention, to everyone's attention. There's a short story in the Miner regarding the territorial jail across the street, and the county's gone out for proposals on possible uses by private or nonprofit interested parties to see if there's some use that they could do. So we talked about this at a past meeting. I believe that item will end up back on this commission. I don't know that the county's going to receive any good proposals on a use, but I just wanted to make you aware that that's what's happening. One statement in that RFQ or RFP that they sent and published was the possible relocation of the jail, and I kind of chuckled at that because I don't know how they would relocate it, but it is possible they could do it, but I don't know that we've got enough money in this county to do that. So, but just make you aware that that's the status, that's where the territorial jail, the status of that is right now.
I was contacted just before the meeting by Terry Flanagan. He is a retired law enforcement officer, and he's going to put in a proposal to the county for it to be used as a law enforcement museum.
Perfect. Good. Well, we'll wait and see what happens with that.
Wait and see what happens.
Yeah. That's all I have. Thank you.
no more, we'll move for adjournment. Thank you. We are in.
We are adjourned.